Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Well, in the summer of 2022, we have been spending a lot of time talking about this particular administration and this particular ATF's desire to disarm you, the lawful and responsible gun owner, nationwide. To that end, in the last year, we have seen the ATF raid companies such as Polymer 80, Rare Breed Trigger, and of course Diversified Machine. Now that is where we are used to the ATF knocking on doors or kicking in doors. We always hear horror stories about what if the ATF comes knocking on my door, but candidly, when would that ever really happen? Well, it is the year 2022, and that is in fact happening. So today, unfortunately, we're going to have to spend a little time and talk about what do you do if the ATF comes knocking at your door. Okay, so the issue we're talking about, it should not be that unfamiliar to you because the video, this Ring doorbell camera video has been kicking around on the YouTubeverse here now for a few days. But to get you up to speed, a Delaware gentleman, otherwise lawful and responsible gun owner, who had the audacity to purchase more than one firearm at a time, received this interesting little visit from two members of the ATF as well as local law enforcement.
Sir? Yeah. Okay, that's all I'm doing is verifying that, look, verifying that you have it. You got two different purchases. Okay. If you have them, I'm out of here. That's how quick it is. Yeah. You have them with you by any chance? Are they, if you can unload them and bring them out, or you can go out to your foyer here, check them out, by serial number, and we're out of here. Yes. Yep. That's it. It'll take 5 seconds.
The reason we're out here is we're obviously gun violence is an uptick, so we want to make sure we have a lot of issues with straw purchases. So one of the things indicators that we get is somebody makes a large gun purchase,
sure.
And then a lot of times we've been there like, oh, those guns got taken. We're like,
So the idea is when you purchase more than 2 guns at a time, it generates a multiple sale report. It comes to us and we have to check them out. That's all that is. You did nothing wrong. Did absolutely zero. I noticed that you were stopped in Philly, though, right, with one of your guns?
wait, I feel more comfortable.
I'm okay. I didn't expect.
Oh no! Listen, it just came up. I'm telling you. That's why we came here. Look, there's an email from the federal side saying, hey, can you make sure this guy's got his gun? Now, if you recently purchased a whole bunch of guns, if we can look at them and just scratch them off, and that way, because I know we won't see this again.
Yeah, we can just write which ones you just bought, and so we save a trip coming back and confirm that you have.
Okay. I'll go get them.
Okay.
Okay.
We will wait out here.
Okay.
We will stay out here.
Okay.
You can lock yourself in there.
Little boy in there. All right.
Oh, no. Listen, I understand. We'll stay out here. No big deal.
That's fine.
All right.
We'll stay out here.
All right.
So while there's a lot of things to unpack here with this video, what I want to do today is talk to you guys about what do you do and don't do if, God forbid, you end up like this Delaware gentleman. Now, as you can see from what one of the ATF agents said, yes, when you do purchase more than one firearm at a time, no matter where the FFL is, no matter what corner of the country it is, they do have to generate a report that is sent to ATF. That certainly alerts the ATF that people are buying multiple firearms. Now, what's the big deal about buying multiple firearms? I myself have made more than one purchase in one sitting. But what the ATF and what this particular administration believes is that no person would be buying more than one firearm unless one of two things was going to occur. Number one, they were actually purchasing the firearm for somebody else, that is an unlawful straw purchase, or, of course, they're planning a mass shooting. Okay, so I spent a year doing videos saying, hey, don't worry, the ATF's probably not going to be knocking on your doors, and we can just scrap all of that now because apparently the ATF is willing to come knock at individual doors. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about all the things you need to do and not do if you get one of these visits. Okay, the first thing and perhaps the most important thing, do not consent to a search. No matter how lawful your behavior is, there is no reason for you to be consenting to a search. Remember, If law enforcement is asking you for permission to search, it's because they have no other legal method by which they can conduct that search. If they have a warrant, they don't need your permission. If they have a warrant, they will not get your permission. If they have a warrant, it will be your responsibility to get out of the way so that they can in fact execute the warrant. But if they're at your front door, asking to come in, asking to take a look around, asking to see the gun safe, the correct answer is, I'm sorry, I'm not willing to do that at the current time. I'd like to consult with my attorney first. Let's repeat that. I'm sorry, I'm not willing to do that at this current time. I'd like to consult with my attorney first. Okay, rule number 2. Do not discuss any details of your firearm collection or any recent purchases with law enforcement. Let us not forget that they are there for some reason, and that reason is probably not to present you with a large check from Publishers Clearinghouse. No, they are there because they believe or they have suspicion that a crime may have been committed or is currently being committed, and any information that you provide them can and will be used against you if possible. So under no circumstances do I want you discussing any component of your collection or any recent purchases. If they insist on asking you about purchases or components within your collection, the correct answer is, I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable talking about that right now. Perhaps we can discuss this later after I've had a chance to consult with my attorney. Number 3, do not discuss the contents of your home or any other people in the home. Do not discuss any of your activities related to firearms for the same reasons that I previously mentioned, giving the same answer, which is, again, it's not that I don't want to talk to you. I just need to confer with my counsel first before I say anything. Now, if law enforcement does show up with a warrant, this is the truth here. There's nothing you can do. They are going to conduct that search come hell or high water. They have judicial authority to do that. You need to make sure that they cannot cite you for obstructing, resisting, or anything like that where you're trying to thwart the investigation. You need to stand aside and allow the search to take place. Do not obstruct with that search in any way, shape, or form. Do not make any statements. Make 0 statements during the course of that search. Now, if the ATF does seize property, they are going to present you with one of 2 forms to sign. The first is the 3400.1, which we're going to talk about in a second. And the second one is the 3400.23. Now, one of these forms I don't have a problem with you signing. The other one of these forms, however, you are not to sign under any circumstance. Let's talk about the form that you do not sign under any circumstance. That is form 3400.1. And when you see the title, you'll see why. Because the title of this form is Consent to Forfeiture or Destruction of Property and Waiver of Notice. If you sign form 3400.1, if you sign this form, you have consented to the seizure of your property. You have consented to the destruction of your property. It is good as say goodbye to your property the minute you sign this. You have given the federal government full authority to seize and to destroy, or to seize and use as evidence against you later on in trial. So under no circumstance, let me repeat this, under no circumstance are we to sign form 3400.1. Let me repeat that. Do not sign form 3400.1. Now the other form, 3400.23, is a little bit more innocuous. That form is entitled Receipt for Property and Other Items. All this is an inventory list of what items have been taken from you. Yes, you should carefully examine this form. You should make any alterations or amendments so that there is an accurate accounting of any item that was taken from you. And yes, you can in fact sign this form. Signing this form is not a waiver of any right you have to that property. It is not a forfeiture of that. It is not a consent for any destruction or anything. It is merely, I acknowledge that this is the property that was taken from me. You need that form because if you're going to commence a legal action against the federal government to retrieve that property, it is this form that will be used to inventory the items that are subject to that action. So the bottom line is if you get one of these visits like this poor gentleman did in Delaware,
verifying that you have it. You got 2 different purchases. If you have them, I'm out of here.
then you are to not consent to any search whatsoever. You are not to discuss any details of your firearm collection or recent purchases. You are not to discuss any purchases or ownership by anyone else in the household. If they have a search warrant, you cannot and should not resist or obstruct in any way, shape, or form. You should make no statements whatsoever. If you are in fact arrested, yes, they will advise you over your Miranda rights. We all know what those say. And the only thing you need to remember about Miranda is what the first sentence says, which is you have the right to remain silent. Shut the hell up. Do not say anything until you've had an opportunity to discuss this case with counsel. Now, if you have been presented with a form to sign for property which has been seized, under no circumstances should you sign 3400.1. Again, under no circumstances should 3400.1 be signed. That is a voluntary forfeiture and consent to destruction of your property. Now, 3400.23 is a different story. That is a direct and accounting of your inventory that was seized by the federal government. That should be very accurately accounted for, and yes, it should be signed by you. I hope that none of you ever need this advice, but if you do, if the ATF comes calling, or you have any other questions related to your Second Amendment rights, remember that you can always contact us here at Washington Gun Law at WashingtonGunLaw.com, or of course you can call us directly at 425-765-0487. Now let's remember, part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.